We've watched them grow up and evolve into grown men. My guests today are celebrating 20 years of giving us music that has been playing on our radios, TVs, and film, and more. Their project S.T.A.Y, which stands for Still Think About You, is a gift to the fans as we anticipate their upcoming album celebrating their 20th anniversary. Welcome to the show, B5. How you guys doing today?
Hey, we're doing great. How are you?
Hey, and you know, we had, and let me introduce them individually. We have Dustin, Patrick, Kelly, Cardell, and my namesake Kelly of B5. When you hear you all are celebrating 20 years in the game, how does that feel to you? Does it feel like it's been 20 years?
Mhm.
Kelly,
I
what do you
mean,
think? Yeah, Kelly, what do you think? How does it feel? How does it feel?
it doesn't really feel like it,
Yeah.
but it does at the same time. Like, cause you look back and you see all the things that you've done and the accomplishments and like, you remember everybody that you've worked with, and then you really kind of feel it. Like, but at the same time, it's like, what is this like? Time slows down when you're having fun. So at the same, it just doesn't seem like it's been that long. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
kind of
that's
crazy.
because we started, I think that reason why he feels like that's also because I think it's like we started so young, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for
Mm.
instance, Brian was like 9 years old, like, I think that and, being that young starting off, and then, like, to Kelly's point, so, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun preparing for this interview today because it all started for me when I remember seeing you guys with the All I Do video. And I thought to myself, I wonder, can they still sing in that range? Like, how many octaves did you have to go down as you all were growing up?
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
will say, we did record that when we were like, 13, 14. So
Yeah.
we have gone through voice change, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, when we do perform, we do have to kind of, take certain records down a few octaves.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
because because that's such an iconic song, we allow the fans to do a lot of singing of it for us.
Yeah. What's the difference now being on stage? Because you all were so young, but you all have been on some major tours. You were on tour with the Backstreet Boys, you did the Russ Parr big one, and you also were on the Scream tour. Like, how is it on stage now? Because you're still touring. What's the change with the fans? Because you have your fans that grew up with you, but you also have new fans. How is it on stage performing that music and your new music now?
I love it because our fan base now is averaging around like 30 years old.
Mhm.
So of course they're grown women, they have their own lives, their own families, and we get to connect with them in more relevant ways as adults and with our mature music. But we also have like this nostalgic connection with our fans. So it almost pulls out like the little giddy girl inside of them. And so it's a beautiful thing because that is the blessing of being able to grow up with your fan
Yeah.
base.
Yeah. You guys initially, when you first were introduced to the world, you were signed to Bad Boy Records, then you went to Motown Records. When you look back, just well, I want to say you were one of those groups when I think about longevity, right?
Mm.
Through the years, like I'm sure it was top turns, left and rights, ups and downs, coming from on the other side of it now. If you had to tell your younger self when you first got in the game, what would you tell the younger self, Dustin, now?
yeah. What would I tell the younger me?
Yeah.
Oh, I would've been like, "Calm down, old boy." No, I just would've been I was a firecracker, but, I was just a young teenager dealing with, a lot that was going on at the time, so, labels changing, just internal stuff that was going on with, family and, a lot of stuff was going on, but what I would tell myself now would just be, like, to just, handle it a little more calmly and just, you know what I mean? Just have a little more zen about myself, I guess.
Yeah. How
Which is
about you, Patrick?
What I would tell my younger self is that there's there are things that are unforeseen that you can't like calculate, and to just kind of trust in the process and really understand that um it's a marathon. You know, it's not a sprint.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think the people who end up having longevity, the legends or the goats, I think they understand that early on. And also to not be so fixated on, because back then we were moving around so much, we were trying to like reach a certain level. And I think at the time, because it was going so fast, we were so just focused on the end goal instead of like um, enjoying the process, smelling the flowers along the way. So I would tell
Mhm.
my younger self to do a lot of that. Just enjoy the process. Enjoy, like, every fan that you meet, every city you're in, every stage you're on. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, so you all put an album out. Your first album was self-titled. Then you have Don't Talk, Just Listen.
Mhm.
And you were one of those blessed groups that Disney caught wind of B5. So y'all got
Yeah.
that real money, right? Because you guys were connected with Hannah Montana, the High
Right.
School Musical. I can only imagine the like get I see you just getting on like this magic carpet and just taking off. Those experiences, um, meeting the different people, how do you apply like that whole just magical time in your lives when you all are now having this new project? How do you use all the experiences from through the years and starting with the Disney Connect and all like it opened up a whole new world. How do you all use that time for everything that's approaching and you're celebrating your 20th year? Brian.
Yeah, I think, having that level of being able to cross over and having that exposure from being like an R&B, having R&B platforms to like,
Yeah.
Disney, um, how to utilize that, just continue to lean into that and cater to the fan base. They love all the songs in our set. I've had
Yeah.
fans ask us and sing Get Your Head in the Game and the Big Bad Wolves and the Hannah Montana soundtracks. So I think it's about just embracing every step along the B5 journey and then just finding ways to package that and keep delivering to the fans.
Yeah. And I want to talk about this new the EP because we're gearing up for the album, but Stay.
Mhm.
I really like this EP. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
guys worked with the group with the exclusives. How did you guys connect with them and to say, "Hey, let's put this out for the fans"? And Carnell is with us. Carnell, how did this project come together with the exclusives?
Honestly, you're probably talking to the person that I think the best person that can actually answer that question would possibly be Kelly and Brian when it
Okay.
comes to answering that question particularly. But my experience overall with them personally, it's been a good experience. They're really good people, and they've also have like a lot of credibility working with August Alsina with his first album, his second album. So overall, as a aspect, they're genuine guys, and they're about business. So
I'm assuming that Kelly and Brian, are you guys the producers, the musical portion of B5 or the writers?
Um, no, I mean a lot of us write and produce. Patrick
Uh-huh.
writes and produces a lot as well.
Okay.
But actually we met the exclusives through a mutual friend. Um, he was friends with someone who works with him all the time, and I had met her once at an event, and she said from that point on, she kind of wanted to, put us together, and then one day she kind of just connected us, and it just went from there.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I have a curious. So when you guys first started, you guys were just were you guys songwriters? My question is what other talents were evolved and came out during this 20 years?
Well, we first started out honestly as just dancing and having fun out
Mhm.
in St. Petersburg, Florida, and it really was an idea for us to kind of stay out of I guess the streets. Like my mom and them didn't want us out there, so We would just be dancing in the living room, pushing the couches back, like literally that old story.
Yeah.
And we started performing around just like little, honestly, little Radio Disney events that just started happening.
Yeah.
And
Work.
yeah, and we started really kind of it started off as fun, but then we started winning a lot of
No, we won every
We won like every single one
we
of our
won every
competitions.
competition, you know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
we won one specifically to go see the Backstreet Boys, which you mentioned earlier. Shout out to them, love those guys. We went to go see them at the Millennium Tour,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
that Backstreet Boys
and
Millennium
after
Tour.
we watched them, we were kind of like blown away. And then we, on the ride home, we were kind of like, man, I think we could really do this. And this is when it was just four of us. Brian was too young; he wasn't in the group yet. So we were called the Team T Boys. And from there, it just kind of you meet one person that turns you on to someone else, who turns you on to our manager Jim. And from there, it just started just developing. You know what I mean? Like it takes time, but we started singing, started having vocal coaches, started harmonizing, doing star spangled banners and things of that nature. And it grew into a place where we were actually out in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, I think we had some we were on a trip, and on our way back, we stopped and met some people, and ended up doing like a small, you could call it like a showcase, you know. And
Mhm.
as we were doing it, Brian was with us. He came on the trip. As we were doing this, as we were performing, once we were done, the guy was like, "I love the group. I think you guys are phenomenal. You guys are great. But who's the little kid in the very back, and what is he doing?" You know what I mean? And we looked back, and it was Brian that he was mentioning. And Brian was playing
Right.
a game or something, and we're like, "Oh, that's our little brother Brian. Why don't you guys put him in the group?" That conversation arose, and at first we're like, "He's too young. He doesn't really dance like that." We knew he had talent though because he was doing some other stuff with our cousins back in the day. But at the time, it just felt like, because it was the four of us for so long, we were just like, nah, he's too young. But on our drive back to back to Florida, we were having conversations, and we decided to put him in the group. And as we were driving home, we were talking about, well, what type of name should it be? Who, what is the stick? You know what I mean? What's the niche? And because people were kind of comparing us to, like, these family groups like the Barges or the Jacksons, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
But
it's
I thought the question was, what are the talents we've collected and developed along the way? Because like we've been a group
no,
where everything has been
no, it wasn't.
self-taught. So like, because like we've done our own choreography, we've done our own songwriting, we're
Right.
musicians, we're pianos. It's just when we're in the industry and we're around so many talented people, it's inevitable to start to take interest in those things and to develop those talents.
Yeah.
And so even to today, like up to this point, we're now, designing our tours, and we're now, getting more into fashion. So there's just, when you develop those talents, they just keep expanding and expanding into
Yeah, I
new
was getting into
branches.
that. I was just kind of taking her
Yeah.
through, like, so, the journey of how we kind of
Mhm.
became B5. And
It's
from
so
there, we just, grew into writing, producing.
mhm.
We've always been choreographing, but it just got a little more in depth with showmanship. And I mean, now it's like everything. Like Brian handles a lot of social media. The industry has evolved a lot, so we've kind
Yeah.
of had to, take on and learn a lot more. Dustin's into business. So there's a lot of growth.
While you guys are talking and I'm looking at your faces, I go back and I go, wow, he morphed into this. You guys literally, when I say that you guys grew up before our eyes, I'm sitting up here bugging inside because I saw from the beginning and it's like, wow, you guys are still here. Like, kudos
Mhm.
to you for still wanting to be in the industry because there's a lot of kids who started out who don't like the industry anymore. It tainted them.
Yeah.
What kept you guys centered and wanted to still be here?
I would Personally, I would say just the love of doing music. No matter how many times we try to stray away and just think of doing something else, music always brought us back. Either whether if it's like social media, the shade room posting us or anything like that, it's just like made us always remember the first love of us doing it from the very beginning. So I
Yeah.
would say that for sure. And just we're a family. We know what we deserve personally. So, and we don't want to give up on the fans. The fans, they
Yeah.
support us. So, and that's we can never ask for anything better than that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. This project Stay. So you worked with the exclusives. How much fun was it to put this project together? Because it's 6 solid songs.
Yeah.
Singing, getting back in the studio. How much fun was it? Or was it?
No,
that,
it was fun. It was fun for me. I love getting in anytime I can get into the studio and, create with the producer and writer. I like collabing a lot. But,
Mhm.
so anytime I'm in the studio, just able to do that,
yeah,
I love that opportunity. But, it was fun working with Sean. I like how fast he works, honestly. He's
Yeah.
very fast, but he's very precise and, he can be stubborn at times, but, we had to learn to work with him on that, but, you know, for me personally, I had a great time recording it.
I
I
would
love
say he's like one of the best that I've heard when it comes to like vocal producing. When it comes to like how crisp the vocals sound.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
I love these the songs and I want to talk about a few of them, but I do want to start with the cover as far as the Lose Your Love. Um
Mm.
I love you all's rendition of it. Who thought about putting this on this project?
So this song was actually recorded and was going to be pitched to a different group. And it just so
Oh,
happened to be one of the songs that were played when we were going to when we first met with Sean in the exclusives.
yeah.
And we all just started laughing and looking at each other because we're like, oh my God, like this is our mom's favorite song.
Yeah.
So not in a million years what we would imagine to ever cover that song. We've heard these songs get played around the house all the time. But
Yeah.
when we heard that rendition of it, we knew like this is already a connection, And so that's how that one came together. And then we just built and built the harmonies upon it during the recording process.
Very, very cool. I really like that because it is so good. I had to go back and listen to the Outfields version of it and like, okay, nice job. And I know that
Thank you.
it translates very well with the fans when you guys perform it because I know it's on your set.
Well, we haven't actually had a chance to perform it yet, but I think that'll come up very soon. We have a show,
Yeah,
uh, April 18th, and I think, at the L Club in Detroit, and then I think, the 17th in New York City.
Well,
yeah.
that
we
would be
haven't been able to perform any of the records yet. So
How
yeah.
fun is that? That's exciting.
Yeah, we're
That's
excited
Well,
to
I know
exciting.
I just lied because we did get to perform
uh,
Spooky.
Spooky, we did Spooky.
spooky.
Yeah.
That's true.
I like that song "Spooky," and
Yeah.
I was laughing as far as some of the lyrics. I was like, that's a hell of a girl to get the hairs of the back of your neck raised. Spooky, you feel me?
She's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
That's right.
Um, what was Kelly? What was a fun part of putting this project together? Stay for you.
Ooh, I would say the most fun part, honestly, is just really just collabing in the studio,
Yeah,
just hanging out and just vibing with the producer, and just watching him like really just like work his magic. Seeing how he like pulls vocals out of everybody. Everybody was a little different. And the way that they came out on the records, I didn't expect them to, but it was great, but something I wasn't used to. So I thought that was really cool that he was able to do that.
And this was the first
Um,
time we got to hear Kelly sing on any B5 album.
it's
Oh, yeah.
true. It's true. I don't usually sing on the albums. So
uh-huh.
yeah, I think I got a verse in singing verse on one of the songs. Ooh and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I love
It was
that.
cool.
I love that. And out of the songs, I also love. I just love it. Gives us a really nice sample of what's to come. The project to celebrate the 20th anniversary album. Like
Mhm.
how is that project coming along? And what can we look forward to with that?
Ooh. Um
So basically we've been like putting out the EP because we wanted to engage where our fan base was at. We haven't really
Yeah.
put out a body of work in like
Yeah.
over a decade. And so now that we have a better understanding of where the girls are like leaning towards and the songs are really vibing with, it gives us an idea of like, okay, we know what to give them, but not too much because we still want to keep people on their toes.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Putting the projects together now, what's different from your last project you're putting together now? How do you all go about doing this now? I know you worked with the exclusives with this project, but when you're putting this full project together, what will be different for you all going into the studio putting this together?
I would say, and you guys can piggyback off of it, but I would say one aspect is, we are writers now, so
Yeah.
we're constantly like creating our own demos and records, and I also write and produce. So back then, um, because we were so young, it was more so like, we would walk into the studio and the song was already created, which still happens sometimes. But now that we're older, we've got so much experience from all these great producers that we have worked with. I know a lot of us have picked up on, songwriting, song theory,
Yes.
and making just music in general. So we're going to be bringing like some of our ideas to the table as well, and it creates a more collaborative environment overall.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, that's like
Yeah.
definitely something new.
I'm
It's a
curious.
better way it's a better way for them to get a better, more of our true essence from us as
Yeah.
individual, like our
Mhm.
thoughts and our feelings and actually be able to collaborate with, the writer and producer. So, I think it makes that much more impact and is that more meaningful, this time
Yeah.
around with this third album because this gonna be the third one. So this one's special. So
Of
we
course.
gotta hit the bullseye, you know what I mean?
I'm sure, well, with Stay, what you guys are releasing now, like, if that's an indication, I know it's going to be fire, right? I'm curious. We talked about social media because when you all first released your project in 2005, we didn't have Spotify and IG and Facebook and all that.
Right.
What has been some things as through the years, it has been mind blowing that has come in to the picture as far as being an artist for you, like that you got to adapt to that you've seen?
Well, I would say what you just said, like the complete flip flop between not having any of those social medias.
Yeah.
Back then, they kind of taught you to kind of be more reserved and, keep a mystique about you. But now everyone wants to know everything about you and you're constantly put. So I would say that like that was a crazy mind blow for me at least.
Right, right. Yeah, I agree. And I feel like B5, I never heard y'all like how I guess my question is how were y'all able to just keep it very coiffed? Because I've never heard anything about y'all,
You're
even
very
through the years. That
classy.
look, that's
You're
good
very
home training,
mature.
huh?
That's
No,
good home training, that's good mom
Yeah,
training, that's good,
that's good media training. That's it's the
yeah,
and
era and
really
time that
just
we were
seeing
raised
really
in.
honestly just seeing the long-term goal and if I think we're all on the same page of that no matter what. So I think we all have that in the back of our mind individually as we move throughout life, in our personal lives. So, you know, just keeping that in the back of our mind, staying focused and really just being a good person, and just
yeah,
be a good person.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. That's like really just who we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
yeah. My final question to you guys, and I would love each one of you all to answer this. So, through these 20 years, you've met people, and you've crossed different conversations. What has been your goosebump moment to date? Maybe it be word of wisdom from someone that you've applied in your career.
Mm.
Mm.
A goosebump moment.
Yeah,
I don't know. My goosebump moment really is kinda almost every other day, just, like, learning new stuff, like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
That's that's my I like I'm absorbing and learning a lot, like, in real time, and so it's, like, things like that, I think those are the goosebump moments I
Yeah,
have, like, "Hold
yeah,
up,
I
one
agree.
oh," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
has been a lot, but I would listen. If I could think about a recent one, I would say when we re-hit the stage last year and got the reaction from the fans, and just felt how much they missed us and appreciated us, and same how much we miss and appreciate them. For like you said, be it was 19 years, but damn near 20 years now. Like it's just was like wow, like we really did make some real connections, long lasting connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could piggyback off of that for sure. I would say that for sure because of me being younger at that time back in the day. I don't think I personally appreciated it more because of just how hectic it was. But us going back, going on tour, made me really appreciate everything a lot more. And that I don't think I got goosebumps, but I would say that was the closest to goosebumps
Mm.
was, just
Hmm.
seeing the audience, seeing the fans, and how much they appreciate us. So
Yeah, it was like a full circle moment when
mm,
we got back together and did the tour. It's like,
yeah,
wow.
I love
For
yeah,
it.
me, my takeaways is like when we did cut the EP, we were also still in the middle of the tour. So we were interacting with our fans and then going back to the studio and making a product for them. So the most impactful thing that I learned is like when you really care about the people that you're making the art for, it really pays off because when you really put in the work to understand your audience and what they want and talk about the things they want and then delivering that, like that reciprocation once they receive that product is so meaningful. So as an artist who makes music for the audiences, that's a lesson I've been keeping really close to heart.
I love that. I want to
Yeah.
thank you. I'm so glad you guys are making music again and we have more music and we're going to see you outside on some
Yeah,
more stages. So I say
sure.
thank you guys for getting together and saying let's do this again. It's so
yeah,
good to see your faces, hear your voices and just looking forward to seeing more of you. So I want to thank you Dustin, Patrick, Brian, Carnell and Kelly.
Hey, thank
B5.
you.
It's the Hybrid
Thank
Soul
you.
with Kelly Kinkaid, your destination for music and culture discovery. B5, we love you, we support you, and we look forward to seeing you outside somewhere on somebody's stage.
For
Thank
sure.
you
thank
so
Thank
you
much.
you.
so
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much,
I
Kelly.
love you.
Thank you.